Today we're going to be looking at the iChessOne, and I'm going to go over what I like and dislike about this and give you a better idea of what the board looks like so you can decide if it's a board for you. iChessOne were kind enough to send me one of these boards to review, so thank you very much to them. So let's get straight into the review of the board. Now, iChessOne claim that this is a tournament-sized board, and when looking at it, it is quite large. However, a little bit smaller than your typical tournament-sized mat that you would get when you're in a playing hall. And the pieces are a little bit different in size. I would say overall, yes, this is a tournament-sized board. However, because it's got the LEDs in it, it probably is not a tournament regulation board. Now, this is a folding electronic board, and they're very proud of the fact that they are the only folding board on the market that I know of. And I'm not a huge fan of folding boards, but I do like the way they've made this one. It is quite good. It's got the pieces inside ready to go. The only downside about the folding board is that you've got the clips on the side, which kind of get in the way sometimes. All the pieces come inside the board, so we'll take those out. Now, I will note that the pieces are magnetic, and I am not a huge fan of magnetic chess pieces in general. I find them quite awkward. Sometimes you knock them over and they all start sticking together. And I figured they did this because the board was magnetic. Now, when looking at the board, I figured they were magnetic. Testing it out, they actually are not magnetic. So the magnets must be a part of their sensor to find where the pieces are on the board, which kind of made me a little bit nervous that the pieces wouldn't actually know which was which and it was just magnets. However, it actually has piece recognition in there, so that's not a problem either. So we'll quickly go over the board. Is quite nice, a nice wooden board. It's got your coordinates on the side and the squares look very nice. Being a folding board, it does have a little bit of a edge here, but not really much of an issue when playing the game. The only downside is the clips do pop up over the side of the board, which can be quite awkward if you're playing on the side with them. The board also comes with a button for turning it on and off and a USB-C charging port. As of today, when you charge it, the light does not actually light up, which was a bit of a concern. However, when reaching out to the iChessOne team, they did state that they are working on a fix for this so that the light should be lighting up in the future. Whether or not that's going to be for this board or for boards in the future, I'm not sure, but it did make it a bit awkward to know if the board was charging or not. We'll get to the LEDs in a moment, but first we'll talk about the pieces. Now, the pieces are roughly tournament size as well, with all the pieces being a little bit taller than your plastic set that you see on the lower rated tables, except for the king, which is actually a little bit shorter. Now, the design of the pieces is actually very good. I'm very happy with the way the pawns look, the rooks, the bishops, and the queens. I'm not too happy with how the knight looks, but I did get the timeless set. I would recommend going for a better set. The knights, even though they do look good and they're consistent, I just don't like the design of the knight. I don't know. What do you think about the knight? Let me know down below. And the knight is kind of average in my opinion. However, very happy with the rest of them. And when I opened the set for the first time, I was actually very pleased with everything that came in it. I did think that the pieces looked a little bit underwhelming in their photos, but when I actually got them, they actually looked quite good. They got a good weight to them and I'm very happy. So let's turn the board on. Now, to turn it on, all you need to do is press the button and hold it down and the board will come on. You'll see a little bit of flashing there. Now, what I did find very interesting about the board is, I don't have the app on or anything, but when you put the pieces on, a little green light will flick. And I thought that was a very nice touch. Now, connecting the board is incredibly fast and easy. It's got Bluetooth. And as soon as you press connect, it connects on the app. Also has a nice little feature, which I quite enjoy, which is the LED test. Now, not sure if you can see that on the camera, but I'll get a better view of it. It will go around and test all the boards. Here again is the LEDs when the pieces aren't on the board. So let's go ahead and set those up. Now, one thing I did notice is if you don't put the pieces directly in the middle of the square, you might have a little bit of an issue where the pieces don't get recognized and you will need to adjust them. So keep that in mind. Now, how iChess have done it is For some of their squares, the lights will be on the outside of the square, where others, they will be on the inside of the square. Another thing that iChess did when I first loaded it up, they had the pieces where they were moving from and to. The pieces on the original square would be flashing really quick. Now, fortunately, I was able to turn that off, and now it's just a solid color. Green is how I have it set of where the piece needs to go, and red is where the piece came from. Now, if the piece goes into the wrong square, it will tell you that it's not meant to be there by being red, and put it back to where it was green. Again, another feature we've got here is the different squares the pieces can move to. I don't really like that. I will be turning that off if I can. Now I'm going to resign this game, and I'm going to set the board up on the other side to show that the pieces can be played from either side. It doesn't need to start on the one side. And once all the pieces are in place, you'll be good to go again. So I'm going to start a new game. I'm going to play as white, and it will automatically detect that the pieces are on the other side of the board, so you don't need to turn the board around. And of course, you can pick up the other piece, put your piece on there. That will still register as a move, as normal. So it's pretty standard in how electronic chessboards work these days. Now, I will say one thing about playing on this board. You do feel like you're playing on a proper chessboard when you're playing on one of these. It's not like some e-boards that feel kind of cheap or a bit of a toy. This actually feels like a real proper set, and it is very enjoyable to play your game on. It's worth noting that they did give me a stand with this chess set as well. It does fit inside the box, and they give you a pen as well. I don't really see too much need for the pen. The stand is going to be good though. It's got two ends on it, one for a phone with a case on it and one for a phone without a case. It's a very good design, and I'm very happy with that. So let me give you a tour of the app. When you get into the app, you'll find that you've got your home screen, your board, and your settings. Now the board, you'll see a little green dot on there if it's connected, and it connects pretty much straight away. And you can go into your settings and you can do your LED test if you like. It also shows the battery level in there. And if we go over to settings, we can go to our app setting. Integration, currently only on Lichess, not on chess.com. And we have the board brightness, which I currently have on high. But if we change it to low, it becomes a lot nicer. Board status, highlight intensity. Not sure what, that's about the same pretty much. Game event highlight intensity, not sure there. Highlight squares in action, single square indication. Now, here was something that was a little bit annoying. This little lightning bolt picture here will indicate the board flashing when the piece needs to move. Now I turned that off as soon as I saw it. You can also enable pre-moves on here. Now if we go to home, we've got the play online feature, which goes through to Lichess, and we've got another play online, which is nothing. I'm assuming that's going to be for a different website to play on, or maybe their own. We've got player versus player, which is an over the board, which is very good. We've got play against AI, which is also very good. Game analysis, so it will actually show you your previous games. However, I've found that I'm only seeing the games of what I've played today. I'm not actually seeing games of what I played other times. So when I turned off the board and turned it back on, the games were gone. So keep that in mind. However, I did find when analyzing these games, it was quite easy to copy the games over to websites such as chess.com and do your analysis on there as well. I didn't really find anything special about the game analysis in here. But if you go back and you go to your PGN, you'll be able to copy it by pressing the copy button, take it over to chess.com, load it in and review through there as well. So you can save it onto other platforms for review later. The chess puzzle seems to be blanked out as well, so I think that's what they're coming out with shortly. And from what I've read on their website, there's going to be a lot of puzzles included, so that might be something you're interested in. So overall, the app has some basic features on it. I would personally like to see a setup position, where you can set up the position and then play the game from there, rather than having to play the game from scratch. Now, I've been told that they're also working on a Chess 960 or Fisher Random Chess, so those are going to be good additions as well. But when it comes to playing against the AI, I want to do new game. We've got hints as well in the game, which is a very good feature because you just press hint and it will actually light up on the board the piece to move. You still need to figure out where you're going to move the piece, but that's a cool little feature to have as well. What I would like to see is to be able to set up my own position on the board and then play the game from there. So hopefully they bring that out in the future. So the app looks okay, has a little bit of work to be done. It is a fairly new board still. They released it on Kickstarter and they've been bringing out different chess sets as well as different features over time. So hopefully this will evolve over time as well. Now, another part that came with the board, let me just turn it off. Another item that came with the board was a little protective cloth to put over the board so it avoids scratches. But what they also sent me was a carry case. The case has a handle on the side to make it easy to carry, or it has a strap so you can wear it over your shoulder. This is an optional piece that you can get when you order the board. I recommend this is something you fork out for because you're getting a travel board. You're going to want to travel around with it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pack up my board. I'm going to put it in here and I'm going to see what it feels like to walk around with the board. So we'll just close it up, click them over, and then it's just a matter of opening up, putting it in. Let's take this for a walk and see how it feels to carry it around. Now, iChessOne were kind enough to send me my own bag to carry everything around. Now the bag's really good because it's nice and comfortable and, excuse me, bro.
You're excused. And I'm not your bruh. Best Buy test. Let's see who gets there first. Dragon might breathe fire, but I have veins of ice. Let's push Harry to H-pawn. little wascal has spewed. Sorry, Wade. Your time is up.
Walk out the door, you see someone that you know and they ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
And as I was saying, very easy to carry that bag around. Now, we just had our game, and as you can see, I was playing a little bit slower than normal. That's because I thought I put it onto a increment and I couldn't see from the sunlight, and then I ran out of time. We did want to play a few extra games, but unfortunately it was a little bit too sunny out here, so we had to call it quits. But it was very fun to play on that board against another opponent. Now, there were a few issues on the app itself which I did notice, such as when one player ran out of time, even if they didn't have any material to mate, they would still be given the win. So there were a few little issues on the app itself. But as far as the board goes, there weren't really any issues that I can complain about. The only one was just trying to make sure the pieces were nice and center when making the moves. Other than that, surprisingly, using the LEDs out in direct daylight, they were still able to be visible, which is a really good thing. And yeah, I find the board to be really easy to move around and use in different areas, so that's a huge plus. Now, the question is this going to be the right board for you? If you're looking for a tournament-sized board that you can also take everywhere, then yes, it is. As for the cost of the board, I'm not exactly sure what the current price is, as they are still in pre-orders from their Kickstarter. I'll also leave the price down below, and I'll keep that updated with hopefully a discount code and an affiliate link for you to use if you decide you want to buy the board. Other than that, I would say the board is good quality, and if you're enjoying this content, make sure you hit subscribe, because I will be doing more content on the iChessOne and features that you can use in the future with this board. I also do many reviews and tutorials on other products, so feel free to check those out too. And other than that, I'll see you later.